Hi, everybody. It's No Makeup Monday, if you didn't get the message. It's Karen, and this is Courage to Change. Today is August 11th. It's my brother David's birthday. Happy birthday, David. And let's get into it, okay? When I feel I just can't face the world and want nothing more than to bury my head under the covers and hide, I know I need an Al-Anon meeting. I may have to push myself out the door, but I always feel better and saner when I break the isolation and reach out for help. I usually feel relief the minute I walk into an Al-Anon room, even if it's a meeting I've never attended before. I find a healing, comforting power in these rooms, a power greater than myself. And because my higher power speaks to me through other people, I often hear exactly what I need. We all go through periods of sadness, lethargy, and grief. That's part of life. But depression can become a habit that perpetuates itself. Unless I intercede by acting on my own behalf, Al-Anon cannot solve every problem. And if depression lingers, I may want to consider seeking some professional help. But more often than not, what I do is bring my body to an Al-Anon meeting. I know that no matter how I feel, when I take an action to get some help, I make myself available to the higher power in these rooms. Today's reminder: when in doubt, I will go to an Al-Anon meeting and invite my higher power to do for me what I cannot do for myself. There's a little quote at the bottom. There are times when I have to hurt through a situation, and when this happens, the choice is not whether to hurt or not to hurt, but what to do while I'm hurting. Okay, this is a powerful reading. I love this reading, and I got to tell you, life is happening. It's happening at record speed. Doesn't it seem like it's faster? Maybe it's technology. It's like things are cooking along here in my life, at least. I don't know about yours. It's been a while since I've recorded. I've lost about. I got to count how far back it would be. But this last year, I've lost 6 people, and 5 of them in the last 6 months. So it's been tough. It's been really tough, and trying to remain helpful and not depressed. And, it's sad. The grief is like sad. And I really try, a lot of I'm also an alcoholic addict. So I have to be really careful. I have to be able to be helpful, but not too helpful, right? My new addiction is to take over kind of control. So, the words in this reading are so powerful, and they can apply to anybody, alcoholics and addicts. I don't care who you are in your life, whatever you're facing. This is the way to do it. Okay. This is the only way to do it. I'm going to read the key words to you. I break the isolation. That's been really hard for me. I have been isolating. Really, I've talked about this. Since the pandemic, I've been an isolator. It's such a dangerous place to be, because all you're doing is listening to your own head. Now, not all the time. I don't mean I'm shutting myself in, but I'm definitely not the person I was before the pandemic. I'm much more introverted, much more self-entertained. When I go out, I don't go out and do a bunch of things. I go out and I get everything done in one whack. Like, just get through the list and get home. And part of it, I blame my Chihuahua. I blame my dog. She's become like a part of me, and I worry about her when I'm not here. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? At this time in my life, to be so attached to, a pet and think, I would rather be home with Posey, I'd rather be doing something at home with Posey. So that's the first thing. Break the isolation. Next, it says, the power of the room. The power of reaching out, whether you've just recently lost someone, maybe a spouse, a friend, the power of a support group is amazing. Even if it doesn't mean you're going for the rest of your life, right? If you've just lost someone, a grief group is good. I use 12-step programs as my grief group. I use Al-Anon, and I use Alcoholics Anonymous to help me get through this. I have a support group, right? If I didn't have a support group, I would definitely find a grief group. I recently, a guy from high school had lost his wife, and we're just friends on Facebook, and his world just turned upside down. And I said to him, you have to find a group. I said, I'm sure when you left the hospital, they gave you a list of groups that the hospital even has, right? You can meet in the cafeteria. I said, you have to do it. Even if you don't, go for the rest of your life. You go once. I said, even if you just Google grief groups near me, get all the information, find out where they meet, what time, what day. Just the action of doing that is going to shift you and give you a little comfort, right? The power of a group, the power of knowing other people are going through stuff, the power of seeing, some people are up, some people are down. Nobody's in the same spot at the same time, right? There's a power in that. And especially in a 12-step program, if you can go and listen, someone will say exactly what you needed to hear, even though you didn't know you needed to hear it, right? Powerful. Then it says, whether I go through whatever I'm going through, yes, depression, it may be something more than that. If you are feeling that way, check it out. That's action. Action is the key here. Let's see. I intercede the habit of depression, anxiety, whatever. I intercede, or I interrupt that by acting on my own behalf. You have to force yourself. If you're living with an alcoholic addict and you think, I just don't want to go to Al-Anon, I know it's going to be all these people bitching and moaning about their loved ones, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go. Do it anyway. You have to force yourself. And it's not just what you're going to hear there. It's the action of making yourself do something else. Sometimes you have to make yourself crawl out of bed. It may be the only thing you can do that day is to get your feet on the floor, right? Take the cover off your head. Walk to the door. Open the door. Don't even go outside. Just open the door and breathe in some air, right? Eat something. Those are actions. Those little actions every day are they're going to save your life, right? They're going to pull you through it. But it doesn't work if someone comes and tries to drag your ass out, because then you're just mad. I mean, you're just, you don't understand. You have to do it. You're responsible, okay? And 12-step groups, grief groups can't solve every problem. But when I take action to get some help, I make myself available. You have to get off the couch. You have to get out of bed. You have to. Help is not going to come, ring the doorbell, come in and sit next to your bed. You have to move around. Even if you go to the grocery store, right? Even if you just tell someone, there's such a stigma around alcoholism and addiction. And if you have that going on in your home, or you think you might have that going on in your home, and you're not sure, and you're starting to question your own sanity, run it past someone else. Your minister, your attorney, your doctor, a close friend, a family member, right? Tell someone, let the words come out of your mouth, right? Don't just think them in here, because they sound okay in here. You can kind of dress them up, put lipstick on them, a little high heels. They're not so bad. But once you say it out loud and it hits the air and you get to hear it and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm allowing this to happen. I can't believe this is happening, right? I'm so much more sad than I thought I was. I'm barely hanging on here, right? Because your own mind is like a survivor. It's gonna tell you everything's okay, and really inside you're just crumbling. Trust me, I know. And you have to say it out loud. Say it out loud to your dog. Say it to somebody. Say something. Grab the mailman and just say, hey, I gotta say something here. I think my kid is on heroin, right? And they'll look at you kind of crazy. Or they might say, hey, I know, I just went through this, and you know what? There's a great group, right? You don't know unless you put it out there. I'm not saying to air your dirty laundry, but you are responsible to reach out, okay? We're waiting to help you. but you can't help someone that doesn't want help. The action is the key. If you will do the action, like it says here, if you go to a meeting, you're asking your higher power to do what you can't do for yourself, right? And you might need help just to put your feet on the floor. You can ask God for that. You can ask God for courage. You can ask God for strength. And someone will show up. Something will happen, but you have to do something. We have to shift that thinking, right? We have to shift somehow and start grieving and start accepting what's happening under our own roof and get some new information. And it takes a little action, and it's not going to be hard in a sense. It's only be hard in your head. So if you can trick yourself somehow, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to go to, the drugstore and get some ice cream. Like, that's my goal today. And you might only get as far as just getting to the bathroom and then turning on the shower, turning it off, and going back to bed. Okay, tomorrow you'll go a little further. The action is key. In any program, any 12-step program, I think faith is an action word. I don't think it's a noun. I think it's an action. I think it's a verb. Right? When you take any action, it's a cry for help, right? The universe will come in and meet you. They say, take the body and the mind will follow. So take your body. And now it's so easy. You could get on Zoom. If you don't have an Al-Anon meeting, Zoom, Google Zoom meetings, Al-Anon meetings, Google Al-Anon family groups. Go to any 12-step meeting. If there's a Sex Anonymous meeting, go to that. Just get out of the covers. And when you get to a meeting, right there, you've done step one because you've admitted you need help. Every time I go to a meeting, it's an admission to the universe that I need help. Now I'm giving help, but that is my help, right? To support something, to be a part of something that is helping people move forward as a group. No one's asking you to do it alone, okay? Let me know what you thought of this podcast. I love you all. I'm glad to be back. Lots of new things to share. I've been working on a big project I'm really excited to share with you. And I hope you have a great day. Love you all.